I have a pleasure to welcome Ottilie Tilston, whose paper Reactions to Asynchronous Video Interviews, the Role of Design Decisions and Applicant Age and Gender, jointly written with Franciska Krings, Nicolas Roulin, Joshua Bourdage, and Michael Fetzer, was recently published in Human Resources Management.
Thank you very much.
I have several questions for you today, and the first one is, why is your study important?
So in our study, we investigate a type of interview called asynchronous video interviews. And in this type of interview, applicants record themselves answering interview questions, and those responses are later assessed by humans or by AI. And this is an incredibly popular interview method. It's used to hire millions of applicants per year. And it also has many benefits, as it's cheap, fast, and quite easy to schedule. However, this type of interview is generally not well liked by applicants. For example, it's seen as creepy and more privacy invasive. And these negative interview experiences are really bad for the applicant and the organization as well. So we know that AVIs can vary greatly in terms of their design, and this is what we call design features. For example, they can be asked questions in text or video format, they can be given more or less preparation time, and they can be given the opportunity to re-record their responses or not. And any combination of these features creates substantially different interview experiences. And importantly, the applicants themselves also vary, and they may respond differently to these features on the basis of their individual characteristics, such as age and gender. So it's important to understand how the AVI experience can be designed to be more enjoyable and tailored to different types of applicants. And that's what our study is all about. Here we analysed data from just under 30,000 real applicants applying for different jobs in different countries. And our results suggest that certain design features are indeed related to more favourable reactions of the applicants. So people seem to like having more preparation time. They also like being allowed to re-record their responses if they don't like their first attempt. However, other features were related to more negative reactions, for example, including too many interview questions. And this was particularly the case for applicants over the age of 31. So older applicants don't like being asked too many questions, it seems from our results. And on the other hand, younger applicants below the age of 30 actually preferred longer response times. So they like to have more time available to respond. And finally, we did not find any strong gender effects, although women do seem to prefer having slightly more preparation time.
So I can see that there are very interesting results here when it comes to different dimensions, I would say the demographic and so on. So one important question here is, why does that matter? What are the implications of your research theory?
Sure. Well, our research confirms existing theoretical models by showing that applicant reactions depend on specific design features of the asynchronous video interview, i.e. that applicants react to certain design features more positively than they do others. And we actually take this a step further, as we consider that just as not all AVIs are the same, neither are all applicants the same. And this is a more nuanced understanding of applicant reactions, which is really worthwhile considering today's diverse workforce. Another important contribution is that we analyse data from real interviews, which is a highly motivated setting that complements and adds a different angle to low-stakes hypothetical studies that are carried out in the lab. And finally, our study can really help fill the void of knowledge regarding how AVIs are commonly designed and used in practice. And this matters because AVIs are already in widespread use, but it's really difficult to know how companies are using them. So, for example, in the literature, there's a lot said about video questions, but in our data set, we can see that video questions seem to be underused. They're used only 10% of the time. And we can also see in our data set that the companies making AVIs in this data set seem to be heavily guided by template options. So it seems to be a good idea to make good templates.
What about practice? What do your results mean for HR policy or the practice of HR?
So the first practical implication that this study has is that asynchronous video interviews are fundamentally different from other ways of communicating. And that means we cannot simply transfer what we know about other types of interview to the asynchronous context. Secondly, our results could help vendors and organizations to design AVIs that facilitate a positive applicant experience. So it seems to be a good idea to always allow re-recording if the applicants don't like their first response, and avoid including too many questions, especially if you're recruiting for a role that might attract a large number of older applicants, such as a senior role. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly, we recommend that AVI should not be viewed as a simple replacement for live interviews, but as an additional screening tool. So, for example, especially if you have a complex job that you're going to ask many questions for, AVI should be used as a preliminary screening tool, and then this can be followed afterwards by a longer live interview where you ask more detailed questions, which can either be in person or via video conference.
I'm sure that practitioners would love to hear about this. Thank you very much for participating in this interview today, Ottilie. And I look forward to meeting you at some point soon on another topic. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the invitation.